Talking about packages. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another disaster of a stream that's going to be popping up in front of your PC or phone or wherever you're watching right now. Welcome to Clickbait Sports. I am some random dude who rarely hosts for good reason because it's usually a hot mess. This guy right here, usually the host, he is the #1 Dallas Cowboy fan in the world. His team's going to lose. He tried to expose the fraud, and he only got exposed as a fraud. His name, Mr. Scooter McGruder. How you doing, sir?
Listen, Tree, glad to be here. Glad that you're hosting. I don't know about the fraud. Okay, we'll see who's a fraud this Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Oh, speaking of frauds, upper right-hand corner, this guy's team did one of the most hilarious things. They lost to the Detroit Lions when they were favored by like 14 points. And Tom Grossi's sitting there talking like, nine. And then he's crying internally. His organs are bleeding from the terrible offense he had to see. His name, leader of the Grossi Posse Packer Nation, Tom Grossi.
That's me.
How you doing, sir?
Crying externally, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's how it always is. Not crying externally, somehow doing okay, except for a certain safety that had a little accident in Cabo, ATV-wise. This man up here, his wrist is not broken, but his spirit will slowly be because that's how the Giants work, Mr. 5 Points Fitz.
I just want to say something. Last night we were doing predictions, and we're talking about how bad the Detroit Lions are, and I unironically said, man, the Lions are pretty bad. They almost lost to the Packers.
Man, Tom, I hope you enjoy it. You're going to be a punching bag, and that's a good thing because this guy up here, no longer a punching bag. Broncos country, he's riding all over the place, mostly shirtless, and with a ton of danger witches in his belly and his hands, Mr. Brandon Perna. How do you feel about your Broncos today?
Here's the deal. I know who I am as a man. I am not scared to lead this group of men to the promised land. You think just because I don't have any experience doing television or real entertainment that I can't lead, that I'm not surrounded by a bunch of idiots every week on this show, and that we can't go to places no other idiots have gone before? I can do it.
Brandon, honestly, all you got to say is we're all idiots, but we can go anywhere we want. You know why? Because we can't read. We don't care about science.
Brandon, I want to ask you a quick question. Where do you think the eating of the Danger Witch ranks in terms of food challenges? Because at the top, it's got to be the 40 rotisserie chickens in a row, right? That got 40 days in a row. Yes.
Sorry, I had to.
Sorry, yeah, we got my steam. But in terms of food related challenges, Perna, where would you rank yours? Like it
was really easy, guys.
Oh, okay.
It was like just an Italian sub every day. Like
I'm telling you, the Danger Witch is good. Like y'all are sleeping about the Danger Witch.
Conscious about what I eat, I would eat that. I could eat that every day anyway. I'm the type of person who eats the same thing over and over again. So
I can't really do that. I need variety in life.
agree.
What's variety? I don't know what that is.
Well, actually, I could eat pho at least once a week.
And
but
folks,
more challenges of food.
Yeah, I think I would like challenges of food too. I want to get up to Nikocado avocado weight. Speaking of which, I think a certain somebody's already going to lose this challenge. And he's the Packers fan up above. Think of your punishments. It's coming. And speaking of punishments, we have a big thread from the Attorney General
of DC.
Sorry, of DC itself.
World.
Yeah, he's not the official Attorney General, but that's what
he is. The official Attorney General. He is absolutely the official Attorney General. Come on.
Okay.
But I want to talk about this right here. Attorney General Carl Racine My office is suing Commanders owner Dan Snyder, the Commanders, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, and the NFL for colluding to deceive district residents, the heart of the Commanders fan base, about an investigation into toxic workplace culture.
Toxic.
I want your thoughts on this, boys. How do you feel about the feds going after Dan Snyder? Scooter, I know you're a big fan of certain Washington teams.
Listen, this investigation is fraudulent. Dan Snyder has done nothing wrong, and this investigation will prove to be fruitless. He must remain in ownership in perpetuity. I think he's doing a great job, and he needs to continue leading that franchise for the indefinite future.
So, Scooter, what do you think is his biggest strength as an owner?
His biggest strength is somehow still selling any tickets whatsoever for that garbage product they have put on the field. And here's the crazy thing. They actually have got some talented players on that roster.
They do.
They've drafted pretty well on that roster. Jahan Dotson comes to mind when I'm thinking of the Commanders. That's a really good talented player.
Beast.
We're still out. We still don't really know if Chase Young is going to be the Chase Young we thought he was going to be.
But it's still a really good defensive line.
Yes, they have a great defense. But to me, the best thing Dan Snyder has done is lead that team. Because as long as he is leading that franchise, I can rest easy as a Cowboys fan. 5, I don't know how you feel about this.
It's just funny because a lot of this has been a long time coming. I mean, but you just don't ever see a government official going after not just Dan Snyder, but the NFL altogether, which is crazy. Like, I would expect him to just go after the Commanders. Like, the NFL is like, what do we have to do with this? Like, we had an investigation. Like, we've been trying to get this guy out. But from what I've known for a long time with this case, is like, yeah, there's been many incidents of sexual harassment. It's documented. And here's one thing that I've always wondered about. Larry Michael was the radio play-by-play announcer, and when all this stuff happened, all of a sudden he was fired and never heard from again.
Yep, it was him and a couple other guys.
Yeah, and a couple of other guys. I think that as more things become public, like why these other guys got fired is going to start coming to light. And that's why, these dudes just disappeared. And I'm like,
if I remember correctly, I think Larry Michael was responsible for a lot of sexual harassment. I think that's why he got thrown out. Because this was in 2020 after all the crap hit the fan.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, we have to keep going on this Carl Racine topic. After public reporting revealed that sexual misconduct, harassment, and misogyny ran rampant for decades at the team, the defendants promised DC residents that the league was going to fix this toxic culture, including by fully cooperating with an independent investigation. That was all a lie.
The team is based in Maryland, though.
Oh, yeah. They're based in Maryland, and they're trying to move to Northern Virginia.
It seems funny.
Well, it's a weird thing, though. But instead, the NFL has turned a blind eye to Snyder's extensive efforts to silence or intimidate witnesses, and the NFL and Commanders entered into a secret agreement that gave Snyder power to veto the release of any of these results, which, I believe that situation, Jon Gruden was the only one that got punished.
Yeah. He was like, let me take out Gruden while I'm at it, but nobody else.
They just needed a scapegoat. And
in all seriousness, if this stuff comes to light through this investigation, this man's going to be forced to sell the team, just a la the Clippers owner was forced to sell the team, the Suns owner selling the team. So if this stuff is not good, it's not good. I don't know what Brandon or Tom have to say about this. What do you guys have to think?
Man, I bet that he's in trouble. Do you guys bet that he's in trouble?
You might want to over at
I got him for an
There it is.
Beautiful. Number one place you can bet on Dan Snyder going to jail. Wait, that's not the read.
Can't do that.
I wish you could, though. Wish you could.
Yeah, they should.
I take that back. I did not say that. Sundays off for football, though, guys. Also, food, maybe some friends. Probably not friends.
Friends?
No, in this group, we're watching the games alone.
No.
But
I
DraftKings,
enjoy watching it alone.
an official sports betting partner of the NFL, can't guarantee that they'll give you friends. But right now, new customers using our code ClickBait, you know where that. Oh man, I forgot to put
Where's the overlay?
Oh, I did the wrong
Overlay.
background. Oh, here it
Overlay.
is.
Oh, there it is.
There's clickety
Clickety
baity
baity.
for the DraftKings. All right,
Mhm.
I'm crushing this.
Datey for the baity. Boop, boop. Oh, and
You want
I
to
wanted
crush your
do-
bets this week? Do a DraftKings Sportsbook. Do some same game parlays where you stack a couple bets for a bigger payout. If you're looking at some quarterbacks like, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, take the under on yards, over on interceptions, because I don't think those guys will let you down. DraftKings, code ClickBait, new customers when you sign up. You bet $5 on any pregame moneyline wager, and you'll get an additional $200 in free bets, but only with our code ClickBait. Links in the description.
Yeah, buddy. I did
Come
want
on,
to say
what do you think
one...
about Dan Snyder?
Oh,
Oh, sorry, Tree. I just did your job.
it's all right. Go
Oh,
ahead,
yeah,
man.
keep
No
reading
worries.
that
No
thread.
worries.
I haven't read it, so.
But I did want to see one more thing. The end of the thread was just about the lawsuit itself. I wanted to talk about this from a Commander's spokesperson regarding the Attorney General's investigation. Let's put this on the big screen. Less than 3 months ago, a 23-year-old player on our team was shot multiple times in broad daylight. They're talking about Brian Robinson, their starting running back. Despite the out-of-control violent crime in D.C., today the Washington Commanders learned for the first time on Twitter that the D.C. Attorney General will be holding a press conference to make a major announcement related to the organization tomorrow. The Commanders have fully cooperated with the AG's investigation for nearly a year. As recently as Monday, a lawyer for the team met with the AG, who did not suggest at the time that he intended to take any action and, in fact, revealed fundamental misunderstandings of the underlying facts. It is unfortunate that in his final days in office, Mr. Racine appears more interested in making splashy headlines based on offbeat legal theories rather than doing the hard work of making the streets safe for our citizens, including bringing to justice the people who shot one of our players. They're throwing Brian Robinson into this. It's hilarious.
What does Brian Robinson have to do about this, bro?
It's whataboutism. That's all it is.
Mhm.
And it's like, here's the thing. What do you expect the team to say? Yes, this happened and we were wrong. Of course they're going to come out and deflect, throw Brian Robinson in here. I would expect even more nonsense to come out from the team in the coming days.
What wouldn't it be better to just to say, hey, we have cooperated with all investigations this entire time. We are clearly have done nothing wrong. We have investigated ourselves. Like, what does Brian Robinson getting shot by two carjackers have to do with the culture of the Redskins? And secondly, Tree, can you read Dr. Seuss? Like, I want Tree to read like a Dr. Seuss story in
Dr.
a smooth,
Seuss,
urinating Tree voice.
I mean,
that would
people
be...
hate that voice. But what type of what book were you thinking? Were you thinking the Lorax, the Cat in the Hat? The Places You'll Go? There are a bunch of different options we can take.
Did you guys see that?
Cat in the Hat is pretty tough.
Did you guys see that statement someone just made? Even the players are starting to speak out against Snyder.
No.
Yes.
After using Robinson as a deflection. I haven't seen any of this. Have you guys seen?
I have just seen it right now. JP Finlay. Throughout Dan Snyder drama, Commanders players have done a good job of trying to block it out, but I've heard it's different now. Players are mad, lawyers have tried to use Brian Robinson, a rookie, in their rebuttal about business issues. Might not say it publicly, but guys are pissed.
Yep.
So there is absolutely that. That is a realistic causation there. Because, I mean, if you think about it, they're throwing in a dude who got shot in a botched robbery, who nearly died, who was supposed to play, and suddenly they're going off about that.
The question I have to ask for y'all, does this accelerate the sale or does this slow it down? Tom, what do you think?
I think it's going to wind up accelerating things. It feels like the dominoes are starting to fall, and it just seems like it's story after story. And I think like the Brian Robinson thing for me, while there's like, listen, Dan Snyder has done like some terrible, god awful stuff that is on record of doing terrible, horrible stuff. I think though, because some of it was like before the age that the internet was really like prevalent, like with the cheerleader story like that, I feel like never got as much publicity as it should. Like this is like blatant and in daylight, you know, because we can make fun of them like, oh, they got a crappy stadium and they treat their fans poorly, like what have you. But like using Brian Robinson as basically like a shield to try and get some of the heat off of you is like truly gross. And like, I'm not surprised that like players and other people, I mean, like you even saw beat reporters too, you know, so like JP's one of those good people like who just started speaking out against. So like, I can't believe they used, you know, B Rob's name in this. So
it's heinous. It's the playbook that Washington has gone through for the last 25 years. Deflect, 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 deflect. If you remember the Scott McLuhan situation, when he got fired unexpectedly, a bunch of Washington insiders came out to the Washington Post calling him a drunk. So this is not above them or below them whatsoever.
I like how they deflect a lot of W's, though. That has been juicy.
Got him.
Time that Dan Snyder. They've just deflected any type of success whatsoever. And FedEx is a dump.
It's one of those arguments, too. It's like they're throwing a player under the bus or using him as a scapegoat for no reason. But it's an argument that's like really dumb in that the Washington Attorney General can't sue that team because if they do that, they won't be doing anything about crime anywhere else, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a local issue. They're talking about business related. Right. So it's completely, it's apples and oranges. It's a false equivalence.
Crime would have stopped had we just not been suing the football commanders. It's like, okay.
Oh, no.
That's right.
It's crazy. Oh, speaking of, we're talking about taking L's. Look at what's going on Twitter as of late. All these fake accounts happening. LeBron James officially requesting a trade. Josh McDaniels being fired from a fake Adam Schefter account. Everyone is going hog wild about these fake Twitter accounts. They're talking about Aaron Hernandez, who just followed people right now.
Yeah, he followed me today. I was happy with that.
I'm trying to find that Aaron Hernandez account, but I can't seem to find it.
I didn't follow him back. I left him hanging.
I feel like
come on, man. Leave him hanging? Dude, that's
if
not
Barry hadn't become a YouTuber and was actually, because he's trying to build his audience, if this had happened before Barry committed to those things. Oh, my God.
You got to think that maybe some of these are Barry. Like,
it
come
might
on.
be.
Barry knows.
I would say you would have 1,000 verified accounts today if this were 3 years ago.
Yeah. I'm sure Barry is up to something.
Twitter is wilding right now.
So he doesn't get
Twitter
classic, on one.
The classic O.J. Simpson. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did that.
Listen, we all knew it was gonna be a disaster, and it is every bit.
It is a beautiful
it's like the
disaster,
Titanic getting the Hiroshima bomb dropped on top of it, getting picked up by Apollo 13, and then dropped back to Earth. That's how big of a disaster this Twitter verification is.
And now they're talking about the latest straight from Elon. The latest straight from Elon's tweets. You can go look at Elon's tweets and verify this. The latest is he's taking away verification from everyone who was previously verified. So if you had verification, you got to pay $8 now. Everyone's an equal playing field, and there's no way this could result in more spam whatsoever. No way.
Here's my thoughts on it. Before the verification process was a disaster, it was cronyism. It was slanted. Fake. There was alleged there
was a lot of favoritism.
Selling of it, like bribing, like $15,000 could get you a blue name. Like, it was disgusting. And then the way that Elon is trying to fix it is like, well, why don't we just give it to everyone? And that also doesn't work, right? Like, that's also terrible. So it's to me, like, I think now in 2022, people know who's who. People know that it's you. It was originally, the intent of verification was to keep people from impersonating others. But of course now that is exactly what is happening, and it is hilarious to me.
The problem is it's like it turned into like a status symbol online, and so people didn't have to worry about like checking anything, right? Like you just retweet it. And then I gotta be honest, like the only thing I use Twitter for is sports news. Like that's literally the only thing. And
that shit posting and poor networking.
Like that's the thing. Like now, like I can't imagine what this is gonna look like during free agency. Like if they don't fix this, like
it's even worse. Like MLB free agency started today. So that's why it's going to be a disaster.
Like they need to color code it or something. Like
there are going to be so many fake John Rosenthal's. Like it's going to be
this
bad.
Is glorious. I am so glad I am alive during this time right now to see how this ends up.
To me, I was thinking about this though, right? Like the if I were a regular user of the site, I would hate it, but it has never been more.
It's been beautiful.
Like Elon Musk bought it to make it more entertaining, and it has been entertaining the last 3-4 days. It has been funny, like it's been hilarious. So, and the reason why, because we are the reason why, and I'm not trying to be egotistical. The content creators, the tweeters, are the reason why people come to Twitter. It's not the corporation. It's not Elon Musk. It's us, honestly, that create all the content. And it's never been more fun. And people saying, oh, I'm going to leave. Oh, this is awful. Everyone's there every day. I ain't seen anybody log off because it's a total S show and everyone's there every day to watch it.
Oh, you're talking about shit shows 5? You want to talk about shit shows? We're talking shit shows, buddy.
And he just says it 8 times.
I wasn't talking about you being a shit show. I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts.
Going right through the stop time.
Oh, so bad. Woof.
Someone, do you have that clip of Jeff Saturday in the press conference? Can you reset that?
While you're doing that, I've met Jeff Saturday this year. Like when I went to the UNC game, Jeff Saturday was there. He watches my channel. He's a fan of the channel. Next thing I know, I'm on Twitter. He is the head coach of the Colts now.
Head of the table.
Listen, I was inspired by his speech. I'm interested to see how this plays out for the Colts. Because just hearing him speak,
I'll get it.
Look, I'm down.
Oh, no,
I am down. But then there's the flip side. I don't know if you guys have seen the flip side of this as it pertains to minority hires. But there's been like a little bit of backlash in the fact that minorities
Dylan.
were considered for this interim job.
Dylan.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing. It's not even about minorities. It's about guys that deserve a chance, right? And I'm not saying that Jeff Saturday didn't deserve a chance. There's guys in there that are ex-coordinators that could use the resume builder. There's guys in there that have worked their butt off. That elite, like Rich Bisaccia was one of the best stories of the year last year. And for Irsay to just hand it over to his buddy because he likes him, which is, I mean, his prerogative, whatever. He's tanking. It's pretty obvious. But it seems wrong that there are more deserving people. Like he's treating the office of head coach in the NFL. There's only 32 of them in the entire league. Like it's a joke. It's a joke.
You have to consider it
be
too.
Interesting because what if this works? What if it works?
Well, if it works, it's going to be a bad
hilarious.
thing because if you think about it, people are missing the point. Jim Irsay does not want a head coach. Jim Irsay wants a yes man. He wants somebody who's going to do whatever he wants because he thinks he knows football because he lucked into Peyton Manning and had Bill Polian fall into his lap as a GM. And they're thinking, oh, I know football. You know as much football as we do, which is nothing.
Yep. Here's the clip that blew my mind.
Welcome to Perna Blows. All of you can kiss my grits.
Is that wow? Is that the audio for that?
Yeah, that sounds like it. I mean,
can you hear it?
No,
you can't hear anything.
Oh,
I can't hear nothing.
Honestly,
why did you make this the whole thing?
Because I wanted a highlight, man. I wanted to blow it
Can't
out.
hear nothing.
Why don't we just
hold on? Yeah.
Let's insert it.
Hold on.
Insert it
I'll
in the
figure
show.
it out.
But we'll
I'll
figure it out in the meantime. But guys, Mr. Tom Grossi,
Me.
you had Jeff Saturday on your team for a year. What are your thoughts about this?
I think it's definitely, to say it nicely, it's unorthodox. And like I was talking about this on GPS yesterday with Perna, like it's a win-win situation, right? Because either the Colts look like geniuses and like, making a hire that's out of the ordinary and it works out, or what winds up happening is they just let him go because it's only interim. So like no one will care.
Yeah.
So I think like, listen, they don't really need to win football games this year because their season's already pretty much over anyway, and they need a franchise QB.
That's true.
So, I think that it's going to work out either way for the Colts. They're either going to, luck their way into another high draft pick and maybe get a QB out of it. But like, that's the problem right now with their bad record. They're pick number 14, I think. So like, if they're going to tank, they got a ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a lot of tanking that needs to be
there's
done.
a lot of tanking.
Remember, Jacksonville came out of nowhere to win the Tank Bowl last year. They really manned down.
I don't know, man. I had them coming
Got
with
it done.
a certain Urban
All right.
Meyer.
Does this sound like tanking to you?
Here's the deal. Everybody talks about I'm completely comfortable in who I am as a man, bro. I know I can lead men. I know the game of football, and I'm passionate about it. I have no fear about, are you as qualified as somebody else, bro? I spent 14 years in a locker room. I went to the playoffs 12 times. I got 5 dudes in the Hall of Fame that I play with. You don't think I've seen greatness? You don't think I've seen how people prepare, how they coach, how they GM, how they work? I mean, won Super Bowls, been to 2. Like, here's the deal, man. None of us are promised a good job. I may be terrible at this. And after 8 games, I'll say, God bless you. I am no good. I may be really good at it. I got no idea. But I dang sure ain't going to back down. I can tell you that.
Because I won't back down.
That sounded like Brandon's rant at the start of the show.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
If I were Jeff Saturday, all I would have said in my press conference is, I made Peyton Manning who he was. I will save the Colts. Mic drop. Walk off the stage. Colts fans rejoice.
But
Boom.
doesn't that get you inspired? Like, just him saying stuff like that to me, like, I look at that as, all right, let's see what you got.
That had a
Let's see what you got.
It had a very Joe Judge kind of aroma to it. Like, just kind of smelled like Joe Judge's musty sweatpants. Like, that's the odor that
that wasn't
Jeff
inspiring
Saturday
to you
was.
guys. Like,
No,
look, I know you guys are all talking trash about me. I might be garbage, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to give it 100% effort. I know this game. I've played this game. I've played along great people. That's not inspiring to you.
He's got his offensive quality control assistant or whatever calling plays. Talking to Uche and Justin last night, Justin Blaylock, who both played in the NFL, they say that guy is the guy that pulls the cards for the scout team, that is his job. And he is calling plays on Sunday. You
could have made up the name Parks Frazier, and I would have said he was some fake Madden coach that they generated. And they have a guy named Zane Fakes on that coaching staff.
Zane Fakes.
Yes, Zane Fakes. Speaking of fraudulent people and stealing from the rich, I think we have to talk about our other sponsor, Auction of Champions. Mr. Tom Grossi.
Look at that.
I think you may have something for us.
I do. I'm going to pull it up right now just so I can share the screen and do it the right way.
Yes, do it the right way.
Yes, do it the right way. I mean, you're taking all the L's today, and you got another L in the mail.
So if people were watching the Friday night Q&A, I opened a package, and it was a signed poster here of one Brett Favre. He's in case you don't know who he is, he's a former Vikings QB. Never
sign it right there.
This was Photoshop, and I love how it's signed on his crotch. Like,
that's Brett Favre. That's on brand.
That's Brett Favre. But by the way, if you want to feel like you're stealing from the poor, well, you need to check out Auction of Champions because some of these deals are just stealing. Look at this. You got Nick Chubb. Signed jersey, 140 smackaroonies right now.
That's actually
you got
pretty good.
this. If you need something, maybe it's like something to decorate your downstairs toilet, something that guests are never going to use. Dak Prescott, signed helmet. There you go. They got it. Pele, more like Pele. Jimmy Garoppolo, who knows what team he's going to be on, so might as well get something vintage because he's not going to be there.
Well, I like that Floyd Mayweather.
Otherwise known as the guy who lost to Logan Paul. So hasn't done anything before that. So yeah, you can check all this out. Auction of Champions. They gave me a signed Brett Favre penis, and you could get one too.
Yes, thank you.
Wow.
Link
You
is
really
in the
did sign it
description.
right on the
Auction.
Make sure when
Yes.
you sign up,
And
though.
also, if you sign up there, make sure that you let them know Clickbait sent you. I think you should auction that off, Tom, and then just say that you're going to give it to charity and just keep the money.
No. What he has to do is he has to build a volleyball stadium for his local high school, just as charity. That's how he should do it.
And if we're stealing from the poor, good old reverse Robin Hood.
Yes, and speaking of reverse Robin Hood, stealing from the poor, giving to the rich, the Arizona Cardinals, they are a hot mess offensively, completely out of portion. Oh, they give to the old, they rob from the young, and then they give them massive contracts like a certain Emmitt Smith. And what we have to say is, question. Cliff Kingsbury got a big extension this offseason, but the offense has been the biggest issue for Arizona so far. Steve Keim on the hot seat as well, but they both got extensions. How many weeks do you think Cliff Kingsbury gets before he is thrown in the fires of the Mojave Desert? Scooter, how many do you think?
Honestly, it's going to depend on the play of one Kyler Murray. A lot of people have been looking at Kyler with the return of DeAndre Hopkins, and it hasn't been going really to plan. There's been some arguments, like some scuffles amongst themselves, but it's really going to come down to how Kyler Murray plays over these next couple of weeks. The Cardinals go as Kyler Murray goes. So if he's able to establish more rapport with Hopkins and get that offense going, I don't think there's any problems. However, if he doesn't, if there's more arguing, he's cussing out his coach on the sideline, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I personally do not know.
I mean, it does make sense. Tom, do you have an answer, or do you think it's still going to take a little more time?
It's up in the air.
I don't think that they fire him like mid-season. Like it's not unless they're just trying to like make a statement. But if they haven't made a statement at this point, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins like yelling at Kyler Murray on the sideline. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that clip when he's just like, what are you thinking out there? Like,
yeah.
So I think the team is just in disarray. I think when they re-signed Kyler Murray to like that major deal, everybody and their mother knew like this probably was not going to end well, because while he is very athletic, he doesn't have a good coach. And I don't think he has an amazing team around him either. And if they're not able to succeed in like this wishy-washy conference, that's the NFC, especially in your division, like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, they just seem like they are the definition of mid right now, and there's nothing that has shown that they're going to get out of it.
Look, they're 3-6, right? Like, how much more evidence do you need that they're dysfunctional and that they suck? I mean, there's still a chance that they could turn around, but there's a lot of competition at the top. The NFC East came out of nowhere to be really good. The Niners, they're going to have to play them a couple times, or one more time. I just think, if they miss the playoffs, or if they miss badly, then Kingsbury, like he was talked about being on the hot seat before the season even started.
And they extended him.
Yeah. And then they went out and extended him. But I think the rule should be, as soon as you know that you don't want, that's what's crazy about this. As soon as you know you're not going to extend that coach, you should fire him. But they just went out and extended him. So I don't know what they do. It's just stupid.
They extended them both through 2027.
Yeah, that's
back in May.
That's dumb.
They're like, we're thinking about firing you, Cliff. And he was like, how about a 5-year extension? And they just said, okay, that sounds good too.
But as you know, the vote of confidence means nothing, because 8 days ago, Irsay was like, I am not firing Frank Reich.
Yeah, but I don't think the Cardinals owners are as crazy as Jim Irsay. And true. I think that contract does give Cliff Kingsbury some security. And
security.
Did you guys watch Hard Knocks last night?
No, I did
not.
Yeah, I did. So I know a lot about Cliff Kingsbury now. First thing, this 5-year contract was very important because he basically admitted he overpaid for his house in Arizona. He said it was a little out of my price range, but I said, you know what? You only live once.
But hey, that's a beautiful house he has.
Yep.
Mhm.
Second,
Beautiful house.
he's a Leo, and he has a giant piece of art that is a lion. It is a very frat guy piece of art purchase, but we do know his sign. And honestly, he actually seems pretty likable. I think
Everybody
to
seems
Scooter's
likable.
point,
Yeah.
I feel like Cliff Kingsbury knows how to talk and motivate his players, but that doesn't always translate to your team being a good football team. And I think the Cardinals took a giant step backwards this year.
Hardcore.
And there's not like a lot of reason for it. Like they lost a couple people, but they should be competitive in that division, and they just haven't been.
But they still have issues on the offensive line, but still most of this is offensive scheming and game plan.
Right, but like what team isn't dealing with? I mean, like look at the Raiders right now. They had to put Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow on IR today.
Yep. And speaking of which, they have more issues. Blake Martinez, former New York Giant, has just retired abruptly after playing roughly 90% of the snaps last week.
Yeah, he was like,
No, he did the
Green Bay Packer.
He did the Vontae Davis. He just said F it and left. And former Green Bay Packer. So we have a few former people who have experienced the might of Blake Martinez making a million tackles and everyone hating them. We've got Tom Gruden
under this.
Legend.
What was it?
LMFAO.
LMFAO. Yeah.
We're making our
So,
favorite retire.
I mean, that all but like the injuries adding up, the defense is decimated. That all but guarantees like Josh McDaniels is going to have a 2-win season as his first year coach back. Does that just further make you like he's obviously not going to get fired? Like I don't think so. Like that would just be disastrous. But it just makes it more hilarious that we get to dunk on Josh McDaniels for another year of his life because he quit on the Colts when he should have taken that job. What a dummy. Oh, there's another dog.
Definitely. Tom, how do you feel about Blake Martinez retiring? What do you think his legacy is in Green Bay?
Once.
Blake Martinez.
Well, because you've kind of meshed in there. Blended in.
I like Blake Martinez. He's like a really nice dude. He usually like led the Packers in tackles, but like that's not necessarily a great stat when all of them are like 5 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Right.
So yeah, like he was a good tackler. But I mean, he wasn't like an elite player. And you know, when the Giants signed him to like that big contract, I was like, okay, you're really not getting like a whole lot there.
Yeah.
So, you know, nice dude, you know, and he got paid, but yeah, I think just he wasn't like a huge difference maker.
No. Brandon, and I know 5, I'm going to talk to him now because you're being a big old meanie McPoopy pants, and I'm not a fan of that. Brandon.
Now you decide to censor yourself.
Meanie McPoopy pants.
I've been censoring myself all day.
Come on, an S show 8
S show.
times in a row.
4 times.
So I'm going to throw the challenge flag on that.
That
That's
is
Like
BS.
those commercials.
BS.
Somebody
no.
clip that. Johnny Barks, cue that.
Oop.
Uh-oh.
The punishments
Uh-oh.
heating up today,
Yep.
ladies and gentlemen.
As I said,
Yep.
kids, think of your punishments. And before I lose track, Brandon, how do you feel about Josh McDaniels in the Raider country? Are you
Thanks.
drinking the tears of his failure?
We tried to tell you. We tried to tell you,
I
Las
think everyone
Vegas.
tried to tell you.
He is literally one of the worst coaches I've ever watched in my entire life. He's had no success without Tom Brady. He trades away players like they're candy and gets nothing in return for them. Alfonso Smith basically is what he gets. And now he's getting the worst out of Derek Carr. He's underutilizing Devontae Adams. They forget that Josh Jacobs is their running back every other game. Nothing's going right for them. And I'm not even rejoicing. I just knew it was going to happen.
I think we all did.
We all knew it was not going to be good. So
But
on the
hold on. Do you know what makes me rejoice?
boom. There it is. Better success rate than Josh McDaniels this year,
Yes.
baby.
You know, DraftKings Sundays are for football, food, friends, and DraftKings Sportsbook. That's right. I'm partnering up we are partnering up with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, to share an incredible offer with you. All new customers sign up using code ClickBait, bet $5 on any pregame moneyline wager, and receive an additional $200 in free bets if your bet cashes. You heard right. Customers who bet at least $5 on any football team to win this weekend will get an additional $200 in free bets. If your bet hits, I'm telling you, take the Titans. I have been riding with the Titans all year. They have paid me well. Plus, with same game parlays, you can combine multiple bets from the same dang game to give yourself a shot at even bigger wins all season long. And if it's not legal in your state, you can do the fantasy like California that voted that.
California.
Hey, imagine living in California. Imagine.
We'll actually talk about that after this.
Yes.
You know, if football isn't your thing, you
California?
do basketball. You can do everything. Just download the DraftKings app now. New customers use promo code ClickBait and receive $200 in free bets if their bet hits after placing a $5 pregame football wager. That's promo code ClickBait. Only at DraftKings.com.
Yes, and a sad news from the world of California. Online sports betting proposition backed by DraftKings and their rival FanDuel got crushed by California voters 84-16. The California it's a mess. 5, you're our betting experts on the Clickbait Sports channel. What do you think this means for California?
So I was thinking about that is if anybody is in California, was there some heavy campaigning against it? Because I'm wondering I was thinking about who wanted to kill that bill. Like Nevada would love for there to not be legalized sports betting because that's a huge source of revenue for them is drunk Californians driving the 3 hours to Las Vegas or in, say, Reno, which isn't very far from Sacramento or NorCal. Like those are two major hubs of sports betting that I think the state of Nevada would not want for California to have their own sports book. So that's why I think maybe there was money, there was lobbying. I don't know if there was ads that fought against it. Maybe they teamed up with the Indian casinos or Native American casinos and were like, nah, because California, they love taxes, and this would have been more tax revenue.
Yeah, it seems like they're worried about the children, even though you have mass chaos in the streets of California right now. But Brandon, I think you had some legislation you were looking forward to as well. You want to talk about it?
Oh, yes.
Guys, come to Colorado so we can do a psilocybin trip together. We can have all of our minds meld into one hallucinogenic trip where we'll see each other's souls.
Psychedelics are legal in Colorado, is what he's saying.
Yeah, are you saying, Brandon,
medical use of mushrooms? It's step
Clickbait
one.
Sports can go to Colorado, right? We can set up a tent. Can we set up a tent in the middle of say the desert and just get naked and go in there and take ayahuasca together, sweat it out, and then come out as changed people? You're saying that's legal now?
Well, I mean, we did that before. Now we can just have mushrooms when we do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Brandon gets naked that's Tuesday for him.
It's us, Clickbait Sports, in a sweat lodge.
Oh, nothing
that should
wrong
be
with
our
that,
punishment.
Tom, was there any by auction of?
No, we already did that.
Yeah, but auction of psychedelics.
Yes. Oh, that should be a website too.
Yes. And then Brandon tries out all the crazy stuff, and you watch him just trip out for 5 minutes.
Brandon, seriously, it's legal. Like you can just take shrooms. Like you can go to.
No, it's like there's
medical.
a lot of rules around it in this current iteration. Like I think you got to get it's medical use. You got to go to a place to take it. Even I think so. There's some limitations, which is why like some people didn't want it to pass, but. I think it's one of those things where you got to do this first. And then once people realize like, oh, this isn't going to burn the world down. Like same way they had to do with weed in a lot of places. There you go.
It looks like
so Manuel Hernandez is saying that the money was supposed to go to solve homelessness, but they already tried that and it didn't work.
Oh, They've been trying that. For
no, there's a lot of real medical use that they're learning with mushrooms and all of this stuff, and that's like what gets lost in the conversation.
A lot of PTSD, even like depression and anxiety. If you look into some of these things, it's fascinating stuff.
What's crazy is I actually have some psilocybin, and I'm too anxious to I'm too nervous to take it. Like that's like I can't. It's not going to help me because I'm too much anxiety to see what would happen. I know it's counterintuitive.
With some mushrooms on it.
That sounds.
Does that
like
make sense to you? Like I don't want to find out.
You just have
man. That's why I don't. That's why I can't smoke weed. I get too honest about who I am as a person, and like, you are underachieving in a a lot of areas.
Didn't something else pass in Colorado as well?
Things.
Yeah.
What's that?
Good.
Didn't Colorado pass something else as well?
If you don't want them, you can just send them over my way. It's good.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
A couple years old though. They're probably not.
My Q&A will be real interesting.
Dude. I mean, I feel like your fan base would love that. Speaking of that, Tom, did anything pass in your state?
They were like trying to do like a clean water and air and environment bill. Like that was the big proposition that you had.
Boo! Clean water sucks.
Yeah.
What's wrong with clean
fracking?
water? Hey, fracking makes the world go round. That was a big thing in 2010. Southwestern PA, the hotbed of natural gas, and it's untapped. Marcellus Shale for life.
You know what doesn't need clean water to grow? Mushrooms.
Hey,
that's true.
Mushrooms
it grows
can grow
on
anywhere.
cow poop.
Oh yeah.
All right. Are we going to talk about this game tonight?
Yeah, we can talk about this game. We have the Atlanta Falcons,
the rematch,
who were nearly the division leader and should technically be 8-1 if you think about it, because they shouldn't have choked against New Orleans. They nearly came back if it weren't for a Marcus Mariota interception against the Rams, a Grady Jarrett tackle for a personal foul roughing the passer call against Tampa Bay, which ruined their comeback. And they should have beat the Chargers last week because it was the biggest self-destructive performance from both teams we've ever seen. They are going to Carolina to play the Panthers, who had a terrible game. They got piped. They just piped. Oh, baby.
Oh, you're going to have to earn this money, Tom.
Speaking of piping, that's what's going to happen to Tom Grassi this weekend and tonight.
You know what? You know what I'm thinking? Tom does the Super Bowl shuffle from his verified Twitter account.
Oh,
I can actually, because I have an Android, so iOS, I can only get Twitter Blue if I have iOS.
You can't do it on desktop?
I don't think so. I tried before. Well, I didn't even try. I was looking to look into it because I don't want to get a stupid verification for $8 and it's dumb.
But if it's a punishment.
Speaking of punishment, I think that's what this game is going to be. Tom, speaking of the punishments, who do you think is going to win this game and why?
Yeah, you can only do it through Twitter iOS app.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I didn't come up with it. Sorry.
You got to be able to do it on desktop. Hold on.
I just went on desktop like just now.
Never mind.
Game,
then.
though, like I hope it's just half as fun as the first one was. Like PJ Walker is starting again. Being playing Carolina is wearing their all black uniforms, which I actually really like.
Yes, black helmets.
So
PJ Walker
I think it'll
starting?
be a fun game.
Yes.
Baker's not starting?
No, it's PJ.
Others
PJ.
are not starting.
Yeah, it's PJ. So yeah, well, that's gonna be fun. And then I think the Falcons are gonna win. I think that they are a better team. And while they have choked away a bunch of stuff, like I think that they're actually playing pretty solid football throughout the entire season. And like last week, they were number 1 in the division. So maybe they get back.
5. What do you think about this game? Who wins and why?
The Falcons are only -3 in this game.
Really?
I'm actually gonna take that. I'm gonna take the Falcons -3 because Carolina is so bad. They looked terrible. Listen, I don't only endorse DraftKings, I use DraftKings. Okay, like I put my money where my mouth is, which is right here. I just stuff my mouth with money. That's the swing and a miss right there.
That's your Titans this weekend.
You don't want to show the second half of that video?
No.
Anyways, no.
Not.
I want to take. I think that the Falcons crush, but remember, I don't take responsibility if you lose.
Okay, Mr. Predicted Nostradamus here. Brandon, do you think Carolina indulges in some legal psychotics in Colorado? Or do they go mad and get the contact high?
Oh, they get the contact high. And that contact is going to be delivered by Cordero Patterson.
Ooh.
Last week, one of the best plays was him just dropping his head and destroying a defender on his way to the end zone. That's a big addition to get back for the Falcons. And I expect a lot of running in this game, because one thing the Panthers did not do well in their loss was run the ball, and they had success the previous 2 weeks with Dante Foreman. So I want to see a lot of Patterson. I want to see a lot of Foreman.
I agree.
And I hope it's a good football game. I hope it continues to buck the trend where every Thursday and primetime game sucks, but then you put in two teams that nobody thinks are very good, and then they just play a great game. So
felt like Houston was competitive for about a half.
Yeah.
Scooter, what do you believe about Falcons Panthers 2 Electric Boogaloo?
I believe
I've
a
seen that
lot.
movie.
I'm just going to echo what Brandon is saying, basically that Cordero Patterson is a huge get back for the Falcons. This is a player that has Deebo Samuel like significance for his team. Pair that with one of the most dynamic tight end / receiver hybrids in Kyle Pitt, who started the year off slow, but is now coming into his own.
If they throw,
I like the Falcons.
Yeah, because they realized he was on the
Panthers
roster.
are in disarray right now. They're changing quarterback. I didn't even know. I thought Baker was starting. So the fact that they're changing quarterbacks every other game is never good for any franchise. So I will take Falcons in this game.
Falcons. Yep, I think I'm going to go 5 for 5 here. I'm going to say Falcons. PJ Walker with a quarterback rating of 0. Houston Roughnecks legend, PJ Walker. I want to say one thing before we go into the countdown, Mr. Grossi. We're going to go to countdown. You're going to wrap that stuff up.
We are going to count this down.
We are going to count that down. And we are going to destroy you, son. Hey. Welcome to my world in 2021 when we got piped by the Browns. By the way, I hope you have the most spirited rap that we've ever done on this show. Are you ready? Let's go.
It's gonna hurt, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's going to hurt more when it's later on in the rectum, buddy.
20.
Getting punished. Dopey is getting so punished today. It's gonna wreck this
and he's rapping this song. Oh yeah, we forgot the numbers. We forgot the rhymes. Aaron Rodgers gonna be
Brett Lodge in Colorado.
Oh, that was kinky.
What?
That was very
I'll
kinky.
just say
I don't know. We're talking about rectums.
I got 12 bucks.
1918.
Start off. I got 12.
Yeah, I got like 49.
I am at 87.
39.98.
119. Tommy going down.
Tommy, how much you make, buddy? How much did you make? Let's go. How much?
$2,000.
I got $1,100.
Yes. You might have to fly to Denver and do psychedelics with Brandon.
Oh no, you're gonna do your punishment. You're gonna do a Brett Favre. You're gonna pretend to donate this money to charity. You're gonna take some money from the Mississippi Welfare Fund, and you are going to build the biggest shrine to Aaron Rodgers throwing as many interceptions as he can.
That is insane. Like, that's ridiculous.
A lot of the donors said Super Bowl Shuffle, which I really like.
Super Bowl Shuffle
Guys,
wouldn't
what
be
do
a
we
bad
feel
idea.
about Tom
Yes.
recreating the Super Bowl Shuffle?
We've been asking for your punishments. Think of those good ideas, boys.
The two
It's
that
your
I've
time.
seen was the Super Bowl Shuffle. So there was one, and then I saw a lot of shirtless Kirk Cousins, like have to buy the chains.
Ooh.
How about the Super Bowl Shuffle
How about both
while
of them?
shirtless Kirk Cousins?
That we got to. It's got to be.
Teams.
Yeah, those are different.
I don't care.
Oh, we got to put it to a vote then. Okay. I vote for Super Bowl Shuffle. Brandon?
Ooh,
I'm going
that's a tough
Kirk.
call.
While
I
Brandon
like the
decides.
Super Bowl shuffle with shirtless Kirk Cousins.
I think so. I think we should combine both of them.
crossover.
Shirtless Kirk Cousins with the Super Bowl shuffle.
Then we got to bring in the Lions somehow, right?
Yeah, that's like it's mixing two teams.
We got to do it all then.
You made $1,100, buddy.
Ooh, how about the Super Bowl shuffle, but with multiple characters as the NFC North? So because there's different bars, there's different verses in the song.
I gotta be honest. I think I've watched it maybe once.
So you have
time.
to do Dan Campbell, you have to do Kirk Cousins, and you have to do you have to do Kyle Kmet, or maybe I don't know, a bear.
Cole Kmet.
Justin Fields.
Cole Kmet.
Well, you could technically do what Keon Crossan did to certain Chase Claypool, just hold him by the sides, try to be Jack from the Titanic, and just hold me like one of your French maids.
Super Bowl shuffle as the NFC North.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say that's a fair punishment.
The Packers have to make an appearance like you're not going to the Super Bowl.
All in favor, say aye.
I don't know what we just agreed to, but I'm saying I as well.
Yes, we said the NFC North Super Bowl shuffle.
This thing is 6 minutes long.
You don't have to do the whole song.
No, it's like there are a bunch of
you have to do the whole song, and it's going on ilovedansnyder.com after my jersey gets. I'm literally.
Where's that website, Scooter? Where is it?
It's coming.
It is?
Yeah, it better be.
Also, I had to order the jersey because there was too many characters.
right.
So it's ILUV Snyder with a 69 jersey.
That's fair.
So we'll see.
That's fair.
That's on the way.
fine.
That's on the way.
That's the year he bought the team, right?
Before we head out, Scooter, what have you got coming up on the way?
Bro, we're still working on this Untitled Cowboys sketch. Is when I have some time to finish it, it will be finished. I'll be at the Florida game this weekend with Wells Fargo. If you're there, come say hi.
Nice.
And Cowboys, college, you guys know the deal.
Are they going to let you be on national TV again for this?
I don't know. I'm going to be on the radio show. I know that. I don't know what else we have planned.
You say only Gators get out of the swamp.
KDDR with Scooter.
Perna, what do you got on the way, sir?
Literally, the minute this show ends, I have a video about all of the future Hall of Fame quarterbacks sucking this season. Brady, Stafford, Rodgers, Wilson.
And maybe Ryan, too, in certain situations. 5, what do you got on the way, sir?
I have a video on every failed NFL franchise. So all the franchises that tried, like the Pottsville Maroons, the Dayton Triangles, like every defunct NFL franchise. It's 20 minutes long, and it is really interesting for me. Like it just actually, I did it like an iceberg style video where you learn less and then you learn more and more and more. And so, it's going to be fun, but I'm ironically waiting for DraftKings to approve the sponsor on it.
I have nothing wrong with that. It take a little bit of time.
Might not come out until tomorrow.
Oh, it's fine. And we got to do champions last. Grassi, what do you got on the way, sir?
Well, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be streaming Thursday Night Football in my effort to still stream every single primetime game this season.
Be uglier than
uglier than me hosting Clickbait.
Maybe a reaction afterwards. Tomorrow, GPS at 9. Then there will be the Packers Cowboys roast, and then Q&A.
Do you want to make a wager on this game?
Nope.
Thomas? Just inquiring minds are wondering.
Nope.
That's fair.
And that being said, congratulations, you made it to the end of this disaster of a stream. Peace out, folks, and as always, no pack, no. Pack, suck.